Well, well. This is it for Cold War this year. The Call of Duty cycle continues, and it's time to reflect a little bit on what Cold War had to offer. I'm going to try to make little cuts as possible so I have a list that I'm looking at so I can actually say what I need to say instead of just rambling on my own, which I'm still going to do. But Cold War, it has been a year for sure, and I enjoyed it a lot. Even today, and this gameplay that you're seeing currently of me just playing the game, it felt so nice. Like not playing with any music playing, just focusing on the game and just playing it how it's supposed to be played. It just feels so nice, and it felt like that ever since the game came out, and I loved it so much. And I still do. I play it basically almost every day, and it like still coming back to it like this has been fun. But there is a problem amongst us, and which is going to be the topic for today. Cold War didn't stick for a lot of people. For a lot of people, this game just kind of came and went, and nobody really gave it a second thought. They're just like, oh, well, it's time to move on from that Call of Duty. Let's hope the next one is good. From what we've been seeing, I don't know about that. So, this is a disclaimer. Is it? I don't know. Oh shit, I'm gonna have to make cuts. Fuck. For those of you that have been with Call of Duty for all these years, ever since like Black Ops 1, maybe like I have, um, Call of Duty Zombies is an old concept, and for many people, this gimmick has passed away, and it feels like the same thing with slight variations, and it will never be fun unless there's like a complete overhaul. It's all the same gameplay things. All Cold War really is going into higher rounds is a bit more interesting, but other than that, it's pretty much just the same thing, and you shouldn't expect anything from this game. Even though I like it a lot, it doesn't mean that everybody that has been with Call of Duty enjoys this particular kind of game. So, this is goes mostly going to be just how this Call of Duty stands out compared to all the others. And let's start on that, shall we? The way this game started, it seemed very interesting. At first, everything seemed interesting. People were enjoying the game. Something to note as well, this did come out in 2020. So that means that the pandemic was happening. So that could have had an impact on some of the things I'm going to discuss here. But as a game itself, this is just going to be what it did. And COVID or not, this is how it is. So, Cold War started with D Machine. PlayStation got Onslaught, which at the time was the yucky version, and that got stale fast for many players. So, I mean, that's not even a really thing. Everybody can play it now. You can go on Cold War and play Onslaught all you like, no matter where you are. But all we really had was D Machine and I guess Dead Ops Arcade. That doesn't count. We got D Machine, and that was pretty neat, but it's just one map, and there's so much to one map that you can only play through until it just gets stale, which isn't good. Now, I still like D Machine, and it's probably my favorite map to this date, like in any zombies game, which is kind of crazy. But for a lot of people, this just didn't stick very long. This is only a slight problem compared to what I'm about to explain. Now, what I'm about to explain isn't going to make sense at first, I don't think, but it will. I'll explain it after I get done explaining it. So, something I wanted to go over is a bit into the story, and firstly, the characters. Like, of course, everybody knows the operators you play as, they're nothing interesting. They don't say anything unique from what we've had in the previous Call of Duty games where we play as 4 set characters. That's not a thing. We play as whoever we want that just say generic things. Instead, we got these main characters. Now, that's fine and all, but these these characters aren't even that great. I mean, they're so predictable. They don't ever make weird, quirky decisions that make you go, ooh, I wonder what's going to happen next. It's always the same thing. You start in D Machine, it's like, okay, Requiem, you gotta figure out what's going on. Then you figure out what's going on, and then they're like, okay, do this. And then you do the thing, and then they're like, alright, good job. Now get out of there. And it's not even that far from what all the other maps are either. And because of this, there's a lot of lack of interest in the game. So you just see that and you're like, okay, I pretty much know what's going on. So I don't really have to play any more of it. Your mind doesn't wander and think about what's going to happen next. You're not going to stay around and find out what the ending is because you pretty much already know what it is. So what's the point? On top of that, I want to look at the map actual locations. The locations, first we had D Machine, it was alright for an intro. There was uniqueness to it. There was, of course, the knocked area, and then there's the particle accelerator area, the whole bunker, that was neat. Firebase Z, honestly, is one of the most, if not the most, uninteresting map ever. Like, you start out, it's in Vietnam, first of all, which Vietnam can be cool. We've had some cool sights to see, like in the campaign, and we did get part of the campaign in that map. But uh, the rest of it, the big part of it, that I don't take a look at that and think Vietnam. I just think of this is a random ass base. I have no reason to care about this place. And then you go on to Mauer. I mean, it was all right. It was a Berlin city. It was taken over by zombies. Nothing really stands out. There wasn't really a twist to it. But I mean, hey, it looks pretty cool. And then we got Forsaken, another random base that it's in a city setting, which is really cool. I've always wanted to see that kind of setting. Um, but for the most part, it's just a base, so I really don't care. With that being said, as an outsider looking in at this game to see what it has to offer, you kind of look at it and you're just like, well, this doesn't really look that interesting. You have no reason to get invested into it if it's not even that interesting. It might just seem like a small thing, but you don't normally games don't even have to be like good gameplay wise in order to be really popular. I got into like Dead by Daylight in the first place. The gameplay for that game was shit, but it looked great, and I'm still playing it 5 years later. Same with Phasmophobia. I didn't think this was gonna get anywhere, but the style was so cool that it's nice to get into, and gameplay was good enough to get into it and last a whole year. It's incredible. What this game lacked in was the step one of getting people intrigued, and all of the focus was put into gameplay. It's not bad for the people that like the mode, but it's not going to get much popularity, which it didn't. That being said, we move on to a little bit more into the year Firebase has released, whatever. People are enjoying it. It's still a good map. I mean, it's not interesting, but it's a good map. Then we get Outbreak. Now, Outbreak was in the works for years, evidently, before the game even came out, and they might have overcommitted because of that. Outbreak was pretty cool at first. I mean, they even added the main quest. The first one was pretty fun. I really enjoyed that. Not that I played it that much, but it was pretty fun. But over the seasons, we just started to see more maps and objectives slowly added to the game and not really much other content. Like, of course, Outbreak is cool, but then the community's feedback on it was just like, yeah, why would I play this over the normal round based modes, anyways? But things kept on being added to Outbreak, and nothing new for round-based maps. We just had Firebase Z and then nothing for a while. In fact, Outbreak came in Season 2. The next round-based map, which was Mare de Toten, was introduced in Season 4 Reloaded. That's a whole 2.5 seasons we had to wait just to get a new map. It's a little boring to just wait that long. So the attempt to put content into the game was shafted, arguably because of Outbreak. It's just a small problem, but I mean, it is one of the things that contributed, and even all the new intel. Evidently, Treyarch wanted you to play the game because all of the intel that was added to the game consistently stayed in Outbreak. I mean, even Forsaken. Forsaken didn't even have Dark Ether intel trials at all, but they were put into Outbreak when Forsaken came out. Yeah, that's strange to say the least. Then we move on to Intel. Intel, I think, is another part of the game that people really didn't care for. Now, Intel's always been part of Call of Duty Zombies. It was an interesting way for the community to dig into the story a little bit more than average players. And it was cool to pick up like an artifact to be able to inspect it in the menu in Cold War. Some of the Dark Ether stories were actually pretty interesting as well, and sometimes I might dig into it a little bit. I don't know. It'd be cool if it was just that, but what it actually did was include certain points of the story that could be crucial to the main story, leaving out a lot of players to what's actually interesting. Now, Intel, I think, is another part of the game that people really didn't care for. Now, Intel's always been part of Call of Duty Zombies. It was an interesting way for the community to dig into the story a little bit more than average players. And it was cool to pick up like an artifact to be able to inspect it in the menu in Cold War. Some of the Dark Ether stories were actually pretty interesting as well, and sometimes I might dig into it a little bit. I don't know. It would be cool if it was just that, but what it actually did was include certain points of the story that could be crucial to the main story, leaving out a lot of players to what's actually going on. Like, why would I care about Maxis without background knowledge? Like, a lot of what happened with Maxis is through intel. All that really happened in the story is, oh, she went to the Dark Ether, now she's back. What do you know? And then she just changes, and it's weird. And then the change from Outbreak to Mauer de Toten was, oh, why is Valentina all of a sudden a crystal? We didn't have to care about her before that much. She just showed up in Firebase Z, if you even remember her being there. Because a lot of those points were hidden in the intel, and not everyone likes collecting intel. I hear the argument that it's just like reading a book. Just read a book. Just just do that. But here's the thing. Collecting intel is really boring. Most of the intel is an outbreak, and many are discouraged from even looking for it because it's just outbreak. A lot of people don't like it. So that makes it very time consuming, and I want to focus on playing the game. I don't want to go around looking for these little fucking boxes just to, oh, here's a little bit of story. I want to play the game. I want the game to tell me what's going on. I don't want to look at a guide. Other people might have not have the capabilities of looking at a guide, so a lot of the time it just gets swept under the rug. And really, it just boils down to this game really should have shown us why we should be interested instead of telling us. Of course, again, pandemic happened, they might have not had the resources that they would have had, but it made the game really boring. You compare this to other games do a great job of showing you what's going on. Like, even the past zombies games that we've had have done a great job of just showing you what's going on. You don't need any intel, but of course, this game did, and for that, it became a little uninteresting for a lot of people. So what we ended up really getting, and a lot of people focusing on, is just 4 round based maps, not much happening in there, not a lot of people getting invested into it. But there are still some questions. I've seen other people have ideas of why the game turned out like this, and one of the arguments is the game being too easy, and I really don't think so. Black Ops 4 was easy, but Black Ops 4 was also not that enjoyable compared to what we have in Cold War. The game is very easy, but that's not the thing that makes it a bad game. Zombies is a single player game. As long as you can think about what you do in a meaningful way, then the game can be fun. What did you do to succeed in Black Ops 4? Pull out a special weapon. That's really what it came down to. If you didn't have that, you pretty much just got screwed over, which not fun. However, everything that made you powerful in Cold War, you have to actually think about what you're doing to get to that point. So although the game is easy, it's also very fun. Another argument I see, was Cold War bad because it had areas from the campaign? No. I'm going to straight up say no. I've heard that argument, and it's literally the reason why zombies exist in the first place. You know, the first couple maps we got for zombies, World at War, Nocturne, Toten, Verrucht, we've seen those in campaign, and they were created from assets of the campaign, brought over to zombies, made it work for zombies, and it just worked. It still works to this day. And even a certain amount of Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 3 assets as well. So, just because an area in zombies is from another part of the game does not make you go, wow, I don't want to play this game now. That just seems really dumb. Although I could kind of see where this argument is coming from, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that if these parts of the campaign were put into zombies and they were just unchanged completely, it would be stupid. But all of the round-based maps, even Nocturne and Toten brought from the past Call of Duties, Nocturne and Toten put into D Machine is completely different. Firebase Z is pretty much its own thing for the most part, except for the village. Even then, the village is changed to make it work in zombies, and it fits thematically. And the same goes for Mauer Toten, and the same goes for Forsaken. But there is also, of course, Outbreak and Onslaught. These things were straight up ripped from multiplayer. There's a reason why Outbreak, I feel, didn't do that well. It's because the maps just kind of sucked. Even if they put like a little thing, like this has to do with zombies, you can find it and then you can make connections there, but it really doesn't. Onslaught really didn't have to do that since it was just seen as a fun little extra mode to enjoy. So it's not as much as an issue there. And Vanguard's going to be doing this too, and I probably can guarantee you that's not the reason why it's going to fail. If it even fails, it's still good to good. I don't know. But what it really boils down to is this. Cold War Zombies could have been one of the best years, and it has been for some. For others, it hasn't. Although it had some of the best gameplay that we've seen in a while and a lot of people enjoyed, there was little interest due to the lack of the theme of zombies. Basically, this just means a lot of people didn't see any interest. They didn't go to zombies in the first place to try it out, even though the gameplay was really good. The gameplay wasn't seen because it didn't grab enough people. This is my conclusion that I came up with. If you haven't played Cold War or just gotten into it a bit more, it might be good to check it out if you want to. If you've been playing like all these other CODs, then maybe not because it's mostly the same thing. But if you're getting into any Call of Duty, Cold War is probably still one of the best games to get into just because you buy the game and you start off with all the maps. I don't think anybody's really said that, but that is pretty incredible compared to what we've gotten in the past COD titles. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to my little rant. Let me know if you agreed with some of the things I was saying by liking the video or letting me know down in the comments, because this is my theory and a lot of people might have a different idea. Who knows? Let me know. Again, I don't have all the ideas. I'm not God. As for Vanguard Zombies, I will be playing that. I will be posting on that just because I like zombies a lot. So we'll see how that is. From what it's been sounding like, though, it's kind of an ouchie. It's not really that great, but I don't know. I'm playing it anyways. I'm going to make fun of it because that's what we do around here. But thank you guys for watching the video. If you liked it, like the video. If you like my other videos, and subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you all later, and bye.